Hey, so I was reading today Proverbs 13, verse 22, where it's talking about a wealthy man leaving an inheritance to his great-grandkids or his grandkids. In fact, let me read it. A good man leaves an inheritance to his grandchildren, but the sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. Now, I know a lot of people have viewed that verse as some sort of command or directive for every man to strive with all his heart to establish a financial, a legacy of wealth for his grandkids. Such a legacy of wealth that it spills over into his, multiple generations out. And while I think that that is commendable, and in fact, personally, I would like to become a billionaire. And this is the first time in public I've revealed that desire, that aspiration. I am not, however, obsessed with wealth. I'm not obsessed with the obtaining of wealth, though maybe one or two people in my past might differ. However, and I've actually even, now that I think about it, not to out anyone, but there's at least one elder on the board of elders at my church who has expressed the same sentiment. Be that as it may, I've had relatives, like one particular cousin of mine who I love dearly. He has told me, we gotta break this curse of poverty, and we've got to establish wealth so that, again, citing this verse from the 13th chapter of Proverbs, you can leave wealth to your grandchildren. And again, while I admire and find that sentiment noble, I do not believe one bit that this verse is even subtly hinting at that as a necessity. It is essentially, as the Proverbs often do, making an observation. It isn't setting forth a prescription. It's basically saying that a good man, because he works hard, because he establishes himself with uprightness and integrity, if he does obtain wealth, that wealth, because it will not be stolen, much like the wicked's wealth will be stolen in some circumstances, in some situations, some scenarios, their wealth will be stolen. Unlike the wicked, his wealth will be passed on to his grandchildren. He won't have it taken from him unjustly or prematurely because of his own wickedness. Now, that clearly is not an absolute, an axiom, because there have been righteous people who have had their wealth stolen, their material possessions and what have you stolen. And there have been wicked people who have conversely lived till the end of their days without having their wealth taken from them. So clearly this is not prescribing what must be done. It is not setting forth some standard by which every Christian man or adult must live in order to reflect his righteousness. No, it's simply in a narrow sense, indicating what will generally happen to the righteous. His wealth will be passed on generation by generation, whereas by contrast, the wicked will have his wealth either squandered by himself through his own wicked choices, or it will be taken from him because that's what he deserves. So, just another make you think moment. Thought I'd share some thoughts with you. I hope you find them beneficial. Peace, love, and soul.